Hello, my brave knights, princesses, and welcome to what I promised you. The first ever Haunted Hotel game. This game was put out way before collector's editions were even a thing, I think. This was back with Ravenhorst, with oh man, Huntsville, and the Diamond one. So why do you ask, am I going to play this? To show you what the very original Haunted Hotel was all about. It wasn't about ghosts or people. It was about the hotel itself, which was really cool. So, I'm going to show you why this was cool. It was a dark and stormy night when I was driving down a dark and windy road, unaware of the ill-fated adventures that was waiting for me. It began in the form of a blinding flash of light that assaulted my senses and sent me veering off the road into a road sign. Stunned, I crawled from my car with my heart racing in my ears and squinted in the dark to try and read the sign that I plowed into. It said, "Hotel, 1 mile." And off in the distance behind it, I could see the hotel's warm, inviting glow. The journey to reach it was short, but by the time I stood in the doorway, I was dripping like a soaked dog and feeling much the same. The hotel was very 50s in its design, but at the same time, it looked clean and new in an eerie way. Shrugging it off, I realized there was no one around the porter or clerk I had hoped would assist me were nowhere to be seen. In fact, no one was around at all. "Hey, is anybody here?" I called out as I peered around the corner, hoping to see a head poke up from my back room, but no one answered. At a bit of a loss, I decided to check out the elevator to check the next floor up. Once the elevator stopped moving and opened its doors, I strolled down the hall and read the numbers on each door. As I passed room 2, 2018, I was stopped short by the sound of a woman's scream. I pressed my ear to the door and tried to listen to the sounds inside. There was nothing but silence. I pulled at the door handle and discovered that it was locked tight and against my jiggle or twist. Concerned, I threw caution to the wind and kicked the door in. You see, survival horror games, we could use this. Kicking doors down. Most bizarre room I'd ever seen. There was a lantern on the desk and its power turned all the way up, but that couldn't explain the amazing volume of light filling the room. It wasn't until my eyes had just the light that I could see that everything around me was covered in snow. Frost climbed the walls like ivy, and a fresh down of snow covered the floor and furniture. My first thought was that it had been some special effect. My second thought that it was time for me to leave quickly. I was going to do just that, but then a painting hanging on the wall caught my eye and paralyzed me where I stood. It was a picture of a frozen sea, and something about it made the hairs on the back of my neck stand on end with fright. This feeling grew worse when, at that very moment, snow began to fall inside the room. The shock of the whole scene was overwhelming, and would have kept me paralyzed if I hadn't been for a burst of courage from within that overcame my fear and set me into a dead run out the door and back to the elevator. I pressed the button to return to the ground floor, expecting a welcome party of show producers and hotel staff to be waiting there. But they weren't. So this is the game. So I already know all this stuff. In this, you get time limits. You get a time limit in the original, very ancient Hinata games. So you literally had to rush it, or at the most, not look bad. Let me adjust this. Let me put this up here, because it's hard to see in this small window. So yeah, this is what the original Haunted Hotel was. Basically, every room you walk into is different from the rest. And this game is not that big either. It's like, it's small. It's like 40 something megabytes. Yeah, back then everything was small. Pipe hat and a dinosaur. Gotcha. So, yeah. Now you guys are going to endure my suffering with me as I try to find these things. So these are our hints. Back then the hints weren't unlimited like they are now. I believe I played Ravenhurst also to show you guys that. It was really interesting. And hard. These old games were pretty hard before they became nice. Apparently we were looking for that hat. Okay. So this is a bonus game we have to do. It's ridiculous. How many did I get? I got 47. No, I got 21. Alright, we get it. Yay, I won. This is the, okay. This is the, yeah, I'm so good at this. That was a bonus game. So yeah, there are bonus games in this game. It's crazy. That was only floor 1. When the elevator doors opened, I bullied to the corridor and stopped abruptly as I viewed the space around me. I wasn't on the ground floor. The elevator led me somewhere totally different. Before I could get back inside the elevator doors sealed and wouldn't open again no matter what I did to the buttons. So after a while I had to give up and try to get my bearings and find a way out. All of the door numbers were started with the number 3. So it seemed like I was on the 3rd floor, even though that didn't make any sense. I was positive that I felt the elevator going down. The floor to room 3027 was unlocked, so I pushed the door open and slowly crept inside. Unsure of what to expect after that first room, there was the same furniture and arrangements in this room as there had been in the winter room, and even the same machinery and crates. Thankfully, this room was a lot livelier, and that looked as though the plants placed around it had been brought in from a meadow that afternoon. As I looked around, the room began to brighten as if on a spring day, the very air coming alive with bees and seeds drifting in a gentle breeze. A breeze? Where was it coming from? Surely it was coming from a fan. Somewhere in this room, I had dedicated myself to trying to find this mystery. Come on, Bill. Fan when I had discovered something else, a red cross painted on the wall. My attention was fixed on it, observing the hastily drawn nature that was evident in the 2 quick strokes that had made it. There was also another painting here, this time of a blooming orchard in the midday sun. And when I looked closer, I could see that the budding branches were growing up and out of the frame. Suddenly I spotted something staring at me from the end of the hall with small, glinting eyes. It took me a moment to realize it, but it was a cat. I crept towards it slowly to keep it from scaring away, but it seemed that just by moving towards, I prompted it to run off to another room, desperate for the company of another living soul. I ran after the cat without thinking of where it could have been leading me. The room that the cat had run into was different from the previous 2 rooms that I had been in. It had 2 twin beds set side by side with a small nightstand between them. But where was the cat? I had seen it run in. I didn't see it run out, so I had to be there somewhere, but too well hidden for the likes of me. Turning my search to the halls, I walked all the way up the corridor and back to the elevator I'd started from. Out of futility, I tried pressing the call button, and to my amazement, it worked. It rumbled back up to me, and the door sprang open, allowing me to get in and press the button for the ground floor again. It couldn't take me to the same floor twice, I was sure. Or were you? As it transported me to my next destination, I replayed the events within my mind, wondering about the hotel's lack of staff and guests, and the oddities of the spring and winter rooms. What was going on? My thoughts didn't get very far before they were interrupted by the elevator's bell announcing that it arrived at whatever intended to abandon me next. So we have 12 or 6, technically 6 items to find. So this is a nice area. It's basically the hotel itself is doing things. Not the people, not ghosts, the hotel itself. Which is why I thought when I first played this that this was so cool. I mean, now you play games like, you just play anything. I actually looked at all of the games and it looks like they stopped doing the whole it's the hotel thing at the 3rd game, because the 4th on is just about people and ghosts and stuff. So yeah, looking for a bell. Lantern will work, but I'm looking for a bell too. And now I'm looking for a teacup. I found scissors. Now we need a rose and a mask. That's a mask. And there's the rose. Yay! Also in this one, you aren't given any thing to take with you. You just find stuff and move on. So yeah. I think that's a giant speaker. I'm thinking that's what it is. Man, I forgot how pixel perfect you to be in this game. Oh yeah, and this is the map. Click map and you come out here. And now we have to do the energy thing again, and this puzzle. Bonus game! Don't you worry, it gets harder later. Character layers reveal a secret word. Okay. Oh, this is gonna be a nightmare. I'm supposed to spell help. Okay. Gotcha. Ugh. Did it. Alright, let's go. This is basically the game. The elevator doors opened to reveal a man standing on the other side. He was dressed in black with a large gold cross hanging around his neck. I first thought that it was that he was a priest. After advancing at the room, I suspected that he was an actor. He didn't seem at all surprised to see me standing there, though. I was certainly surprised to see him. "Hello," he said calmly, staring directly into my eyes. "Where am I?" I asked, too amazed to think of anything else to say. "Are you looking for your room?" he asked, as though he was completely ignoring my question. "Yes, I suppose," I said, though I wanted to leave. "Shall we go?" he asked. "I'll take you to your room." Well, that was a pleasant turn of events. The priest didn't seem at all like a monster, so maybe I'd just gotten a little lost. My mood was improved in his company that by the time we reached what was to be my room, I had gathered the courage to ask him about the rooms. However, before I could say a thing, he cut me off and said, "You should stay in your room to avoid any accidents." Accidents? I didn't like the sound of that. "What exactly do you mean?" I asked. Warily, and observed that strange creature's face became very serious as he answered. "Time beyond eternity. Time comes, eternity remains. I beg you, stay in your room." He warmed up again and added, "Besides, it's just for the night. Stay in your room." Something very strange was happening there that was giving me the distinct impression that this priest was trying not to frighten me. Before he left me to explore my room, it was very different from all the others, in that there was a drum sounded by candles in the center that looked as if it had been made with an animal hide drawn tightly over it. The whole setup made me think of a shaman. A persistent glimmer around the room caught my attention, to the fact that knives were strewn all over the place, while all around me the penetrating eyes of mounted animals stared me down like they were waiting to attack. Slowly I backed away towards the door, held by the fear that if I turned my back to these creatures it would be for the last time. I must have been losing my mind. As I made my slow escape, things only got crazier when I was suddenly knocked back by a powerful gust of wind, even though the window was closed. Finally, having more of this adventure than I could handle, I lost my wits and slammed myself into the door a few times before I remembered that the door opened inwards. Turning it open, I pulled it into the hall with the unnatural gale slamming the door behind me. But I wasn't alone. Though the door was shut, the wind seemed to pass through it and follow me out. It was as cold as an Arctic gale, raising goosebumps all the way down my arms as it harassed me. It was getting colder by the moment. Interesting. So we have 16 this time, we have to find 15. Gotcha. An artist's room. Excellent. Hammer, hand, seashell, violin, camera. There's a hand. Don't see a camera yet. So yeah, all this is very suspicious indeed. This looks like a workshop. Impressive. When in doubt, click on everything until you reach something. Yeah, if you click too much though, like in most old nostalgia games, you lose time. Now this didn't last, this time limit thing, because, like, you don't need to go far to find where it stops. Like in Dire Grove, it stopped. But then they used live action footage for Dire Grove and 13 Skull and Escape from Ravenars. I wonder why they stopped after Escape from Ravenars. I think it's because it probably was just too costly, which is understandable. But it was really cool back then. And I miss those real people. They really did a good job. There's a game out right now called The Bunker. They're doing kind of the same thing like they did in Dire Grove, only much more interesting. It looks like a very cool game, that's for sure. The Bunker. So we did that. We have a code lock and a puzzle now. Oh. Oh. Puzzle pieces. Yep, this is probably the only thing about this game I didn't like. This one goes here. That is obvious. What does this look like? This looks like a cat. Oh man, there's like 3 cats. I just realized that. I'm like... There's more attention to detail with these cats than the rest of these people. Okay. Yeah. You can call this dedication. In fact, I haven't skipped it yet. Because back in these times, you didn't have a choice but to do the puzzles. Compared to recent games where you actually could skip through it. Whew. Talk about complicated. Bang! Knowing that the elevator wouldn't take me to the ground floor, but hoping to find a place where an exit was an exit, I ran in and rode up to another level with the fleeting hope that I escaped that dreadful gale. I was approaching the first floor when a chill blasted me from behind, as if the Arctic gale had only been delayed while I waited for a lift to follow me up. In. As it chased me down the hall, I read the room numbers and tried their handles, only to be locked. Out again and again until I reached room number 4036. With the knob turned freely in my hand, I rushed inside, slammed the door behind me, and leaned against it until I was sure I was safe. The room I took shelter in appeared to be filled with film equipment. Cameras, records, and film reels were laying around all around. There was also a pile of pictures lying out on the table that piqued my interest, so I picked up the stack closest to me and sorted through it. They all seemed to be from the same person, a middle-aged man with a mustache that was dressed in classic 1950s attire. There were pictures of him having lunch with others of him talking to people, and photos of what seemed to be a mechanical drawing. One photo caught my attention above the rest, a photo of him talking to the priest. I picked up another stack to look at, seeing that they were obviously taken with a pinhole camera hidden in different parts of the hotel. The guests in this room must have been following the man in these photos. I stooped about a bit more until I found an old tape recorder under the bed, and a set of reel-to-reel tapes, and then the reel canister. With these items I was able to set up the old tape player and listen to it. Work on the machine is almost done. Only simulation of the weather conditions remain. It's really weird, but the stone and statue work just fine. I made a breakthrough in science. Soon mankind will view which is eternity develop into moments for time and deny all the laws of physics that have governed us for so long. A great era is waiting us, only weather is left. Judging by the point of view and remembering the mechanical drawings I saw in one of the photos, I deduced that the voice from the tape belonged to the man that was being followed. Deep in thought about this, I stared at the table until a notebook that was almost completely hidden under a pile of paper caught my attention. There was only 2 pages in it that had been used at all, but the notes that were present were very succinct. Respected physicist takes unconventional direction. Expulsion from the Physicist Society not allowed to conference, says. Scandal with experiments in Germany. Relations with unknown creditors for experiments pursued by the church. When I finished reading it, I stood up and was partially engulfed by the Arctic gale. I thought I escaped the hall. Time to go. Indeed. With that, we will be back, guys. Leave a like and subscribe because there's always room for more, and I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye, everybody. Hope you're enjoying this so far.